Good day. My name is Melvin Owens. I'm assistant principal at Louisville High School, Harmon, and I'm happy to be here with you today to talk about restorative discipline. The goal of any discipline program is to change negative behaviors to positive behaviors. I had a student last year that came to school with a lot of baggage from home. He really wasn't taught the proper way to conduct himself inside of a school building. But through one-on-one conferences with him, being able to sit in my office and be able to talk about the proper way to behave, the proper way to conduct himself, the proper steps to take to be able to solve a problem, and really work through some of those avenues to navigate through some of the issues that he was having, really helped. So give some time for reflection. I really believe in reflection time to be able to write some things down and be able to talk about it. He really hadn't been in a situation where he could do that before. So that really helped, and being able to talk about what he had written down, setting goals, daily, not only daily goals but weekly goals, and be able to check on to make sure that we hit those points and hit those goals if they were successful, and if they were not successful, to be able to talk through ways to make sure he would be able to hit his goals. This particular young man had never really set a goal before in his life. So to be able to set some targeted behavior goals was big, and I had to teach him exactly what it was and what that looks like. Meeting with his counselor really helped as well. To be able to listen, for the counselor to be able to listen to him and him be able to communicate with someone other than myself about some of the things he was struggling with and going through. Uh, we would also formulate a team, a restorative team, and we would have a group meeting. This would consist of his mom, it consist of his counselor, myself, three of his teachers, and also his community mentor that I was able to get as well for him. And we'll be able to get it together and talk about some of the goals that this young man had set, and talk about ways to be able to reach those goals. What I loved about the group approach as well is that everyone had a story. Each one of us as adults in the room had a story about the things that we had to go through when we were this young man's age and the steps we took to be able to overcome them. We also were able to teach him about the stories that were taught to us from our parents, from our grandparents, from our teachers, from our pastors, to be able to share those things with him and let him know that he is not alone in the things that he's struggling with, that we've all had some struggles, and we've all had to overcome some things in life. We would meet periodically to be able to talk about the goals he had set in his life. We had a bunch of lunch discussions, a bunch of hallway discussions. He felt very supported here at Harmon. From his previous school, he had never really felt that type of support before, so that was big. Calls home to his mom, had worked up a relationship with his mom, so we were able to make calls home, not only myself but also the counselor, to be able to check on his home life, because a lot of times on the weekends he was in and out of one house to another. So to really get a grasp on what was going on in his life, to be able to better equip him and help him while he was here in our school building. Getting him to tutorials to make sure he was successful academically. Working with his teachers one-on-one was big. It helps here at Harmon because we have after-school buses to be able to get him home, so his mom didn't have to worry about the transportation and getting off work to get him. So that helped him be able to keep him here at school. And also, like I said before, setting him up with a community mentor that would come in and speak with him and talk with him and also share stories with him. He had never really, like I said, never felt this type of support before, and we were able to afford that to him here at Harmon. Now, his punishment for his mistakes were not just punitive. Um, and the big thing is that he found out that it was up to him to be able to change his behavior. But with creating a support system for him, knowing that we're not out to get you, really helped him turn things around and see things for the positive. That, you know what, these adults in the building are trying to help me get somewhere, not trying to hold me back and not here to pick on me. So that was big. Um, what's my role in restorative discipline? Well, as an assistant principal, my role is to formulate a team to support and encourage positive behavior. It takes a village approach to corrective behavior. I truly believe that, and to keep the I would keep the dialogue going in the meetings and let the student know and see their role in changing their own behavior. Um, so my perspective and my opinion of restorative discipline is, like I said, the village approach has always been helpful in corrective behavior. You know, growing up, I had a lady by the name of Miss Cribbs. Miss Cribbs would sit in her bedroom window and she would watch what was going on in the neighborhood. That lady, she would spend hours in that window watching us. Um, and if she thought that we were being mischievous, she would call our grandmother. She had all of our grandmother's phone numbers in the community, and she would correct you, and then she would call your grandmother and tell her exactly what you were doing. Um, Miss Creels was my support system in a way in our community. She would provide a way for us to be able to take a different route. And I think about us in our schools. That's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create a Mrs. Cribbs in our school each day. We're trying to provide students to take another route, to be able to change their behavior for the positive and be able to go another route and go another avenue in their life. If our students would take advantage of this, the sky's the limit to reach their full potential in life. I know I heard a story, actually had a man to come and talk to us a couple of years ago. He's a custodian at Trinity High School here in the area. Um, he's a mentor to a lot of kids at Trinity High School. The principals actually send students to him to be able to mentor them and really be able to change their behavior. And he's really worked a relationship with that community and those students for the positive. And it's big things happen there at Trinity just because that gentleman is there and loves what he does. Also, I know I've talked to some principals in the San Antonio area at different conferences, and they've taken the restorative discipline approach to their campuses. They've changed a lot of behavior on their campuses by having conversations with students in a roundtable discussion, as they call it, to be able to come together to be able to solve issues and problems of all different types because they're taking the time to really get students to reflect on their behavior, to really get to communicate and see that they can go a different route in their approaches to be able to live their lives and change their behavior for the positive. So there's so many Mrs. Cribbs out there uh, in our communities, in our schools, that's really working with students daily to be able to see the positive sides of changing their behaviors and to be able to do some productive and positive things in their lives. So thank you so much for listening to me today. Um, I hope that you find your Mrs. Cribbs in your schools to provide a support system for your students. The village approach is alive and well, but it takes us to be able to come together to be able to help our students to reach their full potential. Thank you so much for your time today.